At the recent MTV Music Awards, most of you are probably familiar with the big news that happened. Taylor Swift went up to get her award, and Kanye West jumped up and was like, "Hey, this award shouldn't be for wealthy to say that." He said, "I think Beyonce had the best video, and it's kind of awkward," and ended up being a big story because it's kind of rude what he ended up doing to Taylor Swift. So I bring up that example because I think it's a good example of something that I'd like to share with you today about related to a topic given by a man named Antoine France, and he once said that it is human nature to think wisely and act foolishly. So what I'd like to do is just kind of maybe analyze a little bit and discuss the example of Kanye West, what he did, and add a personal experience of mine, and wrap it up just by sharing kind of my own conclusion as to maybe how what we can do is to improve, or what we should do to try and avoid those situations, because it all happens to all of us. So basically, I'm sure what happened, it sounds like happened in Kanye's situation. The guy might have had good intentions as far as thinking that, he just thought that Beyonce got the shaft. She had a really good video. His first emotion was to think of her and defending her, that just his musical opinion was that, it was better. But in acting rationally, and acting just on passion and in the moment, he failed to think through his actions and realized that, the difference of what he was doing didn't outweigh the fact that he was, embarrassing Taylor Swift, which he quickly realized afterwards the mistake he made. A personal experience of mine, I think of a time where I was on a date with a girl at a group activity, and I had previously asked out this other girl to go out with me, but the time didn't really work, and so it just so happened that I was away from my date, and I saw this other girl, and it was not my intention to play my date, but I really just wasn't thinking, and so I told this girl that I set up another time for us to go out or something. I was trying to change the time we were supposed to go out, and her friend happened to, my friend's date was near and heard the whole thing, went back and told her, "Hey, your date's asking out other girls while he's on a date with you." And so that was kind of acting foolishly and not really thinking wisely. And I tried to explain my intent that I wasn't, again, trying to hurt her or anything, but overall it's just pretty stupid. I should have thought about, not asking another girl out while I was on a date with another girl. So anyway, realizing later that, that probably would have been better. So in conclusion, I think really the only thing we can really do better is just try to spend more time thinking, wisely, and meditating, reflecting, or practicing, thinking of scenarios, these situations before they happen, so that when they confront us in our lives, that we're ready to make the right decision. Typically, the only way of learning something, the real only way of learning how to think wisely and reduce your time to act foolishly is life. So you pretty much go through life and you live.
All right, Garrett, I thought that you had a very nice attention device. You introduced what the topic was. There's a good transition there. It's still a little vague on what your point is, but you do structure your speech a bit, trying to set up a way that it's going to be organized. It sounds like the second and the third point are going to be a little redundant. In your content, at first I thought you were a little hung up on the Kanye example. It seemed you're using as your attention device and as your first point, but I thought you made the point pretty clearly when you finally started to explain it. On the presentation issues, your voice is low-key, there's good variety in the voice. Occasionally you have some hesitations here and there, so the fluency is not quite as polished as it could be. Your gestures, for the most part, there were some good indicators and a couple of nice descriptive gestures. There was one point where you had your arms crossed a little defensively. That seemed odd. I thought that your expressions were natural and you seemed involved with the audience, except that your eye contact is very inconsistent. When you're thinking to yourself, you tend to look down, and instead of talking to us, you're just talking in front of us. And you're not really engaging the audience when you do that. And I know that you're thinking about the idea and you're kind of internalizing it while you're going through it, but you're disengaging from the people you're talking to, and that's problematic. Excuse me. You use the time pretty effectively. The only thing that I saw that would come close to being an anxiety issue is that eye contact thing, and I thought you had a good summary of the speech at the end. All right, thank you. Let's get Omar in here instead of switching over. Who we got next? Emily, come get yourself a topic. And probably, Emily, will be hearing your speech in the other room. So Omar will be the last one that we hear in here. If you could send him in, please.